Hey guys, Matthew, and welcome to the fourth boss killing guide of the series. This is going to be Pit of the Chimeras for the last of the Shaper Guardian. So in my opinion, this one is going to be the hardest one of all the bosses, especially on a squishy league start base character. The reason for that I'll talk about in this video. There's also some tips and tricks that are going to help you survive, which will make this boss a lot easier. But anyways, let's talk about it real quick. So Pit of the Chimera is a map that is acquired through, just like all the other ones that I mentioned, the awakening level bonus. So 0.5% chance to get it for every single one of the awakening level bonus that you have when killing T14 plus bosses. So pretty much impossible to really self-sustain these. You're going to have to buy them from other players. They're extremely expensive maps, you know, at the start of the league, pretty expensive, but typically the fragment alone is going to pay for nearly the entirety of the map. So it's like kind of impossible to lose money from these maps, especially if you're able to do the invitations afterwards, which are going to drop even more maps, potentially even refund you some guardian maps, give you a bunch of additional fragments and everything else that comes from the invitations. So I would say that it's never really in a situation where you can lose from earning these maps. Okay, so let's have a look at Chimera, the boss itself. So Chimera has 100% of his attack are physical. So because of this, it means that you know, a lot of his damage can actually be nullified through the uses of flasks and stuff like that, armor and whatnot. And of course, dodge. So if you look at the attacks, there's the default basic attack. It's very slow, very telegraphed, nothing there. The really annoying part is the hide attack. Now, I believe when they say hide attack, they're talking about the smoke mine stuff. So essentially, every 25% that the boss loses of his HP, there's going to be a minion phase. There's going to be 3 of these, 75, 50, and 25% HP. And each of these minion phases after them, when Chimera comes back, the boss is going to do a smoke mine phase where there's going to be a bunch of smoke in the arena, and then the boss is untargetable. You are getting hit probably about every second, and it does a ton of damage, right? Especially for a squishy league start, league start setting character. It does a ton of damage, and basically the fight will not go on until you find the Chimera in the smoke. So what happens is a lot of league start builds are very squishy, so they just die in that smoke mine phase. Which makes this fight really annoying because there's always the potential that you'll just lose all 6 portals through the smoke mine phase. It's pretty much the only thing that's scary from this boss. Everything else is super easy to avoid, super telegraphed. So then there's the combo attack. The combo attack, again, very easy to avoid. There's going to be a red circle on the ground. Just walk out of the circle. If you're in that circle when the attack ends, you're dead. Pretty much. It's going to hit you with a bunch of flurries and you're pretty much dead. Then there's going to be a charged attack. Again, this is pretty easy to avoid. There's nothing really special going on there. The annoying part, I guess one of the other annoying thing about this boss, however, is the flicker strike, because the flicker strike is not really something you can avoid, right? The boss is just going to flicker on top of you, and if you happen to take the damage from the hit and you're playing a very squishy character, you can basically die in one hit from it. So it's very annoying. In my opinion, Chimera is by far the worst of the 4 bosses. You know, it's hard to outskill it because there's a lot of mechanics that just don't really have any counterplay in terms of mechanically playing well. There's a lot of RNG, if you will, to this fight. So I've already mentioned about the minion phases. Every single minion phase is going to come with a little bit of a boss. There's going to be a goat boss, a wolf boss, and a viper boss. The viper one is the one to really watch out for because he throws projectiles that will pretty much one-shot you. I believe there's a lot of that damage, which is chaos. Not many builds have a lot of chaos resistance early in the game, so you want to kill that thing very quickly, or at least pay attention to where it's shooting its little darts. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it for the attacks. In terms of trying to avoid one-shots and whatnot, things that I could highly recommend for this boss is getting yourself a Basalt Flask. 100% of this boss's damage is physical. Because of this, a Basalt Flask is basically like saying 15% less damage taken from this boss, so this is really nice, especially because it does scale with Flask effect on something like a Pathfinder, for example. Alright, next, what I would recommend heavily is a Quartz Flask because of the chance to dodge attacks. Essentially, it's kind of the same thing as the Basalt, but instead of reducing the damage taken from the hits, we're trying to just nullify taking the hits, period. So something that I would highly recommend. And then one thing that is a little bit special compared to all the other bosses that I would highly recommend for this one is the Quicksilver Flask. Now, why Quicksilver? Why move speed? It's because of the smoke mine phase that I mentioned. Before you find the boss in the smoke mine phase, the fight will not go on, and you will keep getting hit, as you'll see in the showcase. Because of this, as Quicksilver will allow you to find the boss quicker, which hopefully is going to mean less deaths for your character, or potentially no deaths at all. especially if you get lucky, especially if you have a lot of move speed. It's pretty easy to go through all those phases, those smoke mines. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about is why I'm actually on this character here. So this boss is it's very dangerous. It's a very deadly boss. So what I did is I logged onto a character which is significantly tankier. And what I'll do is I'll showcase the boss's mechanics on this, and then I'll go over to my other character, which is the actual boss killer, and I'll showcase what it looks like to deal with it on a new character, like on a squishy league start based character with very minimal damage. But I wanted to showcase the mechanics, and for that I wanted a build that would just be able to face tank. Okay, so this build should be able to do that. So that was the charged attack. As you see, this is one of the combo attacks. This is the basic attack. So this is what you want to step out of, that big red circle here. I'll actually showcase it. I'll tank it the next time it happens. So here is the charged attack. Now let me walk around so some flicker strikes happens. Okay, so let's see if, yeah, see that was a flicker strike right there. This is the combo attack, or at least one of them. These are just basic autos. Okay, so this thing is really deadly. If you're in the red circle on a build that can't just face tank everything like this build, you're probably going to die from it. All right, so let me just showcase the smoke mine phase here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the boss down a little bit. Now this is not a boss killing build at all. As you can see, my damage is tremendously low. But whatever, it's a tank, and that's what I wanted to showcase. So here we have, the minion phases. They spawn in 3 corners. As you can see, 1 corner, 2 corner, and then 3 corners. There's going to be 3 waves of these minions, and the 3rd wave is going to have a boss, right? So let's see if we can see the boss here. This is the boss from the 3rd phase, and this one is pretty easy. The goat, he shoots some little projectiles, nothing crazy. The projectiles, there's like a little blood explosion, and also he has the little I guess sunder that he does, right? That is also not super dangerous, I would say. Okay, so when Chimera comes back after, this is the smoke mine phase. So you're going to have a bunch of smoke mine on your screen, and you're just going to take these hits forever. As long as you don't find the boss, these are just going to keep happening. You're just going to keep getting hit. On a character like this, I can just laugh it off, right? I can shrug it off. I don't care. I'm not going to die, ever. But on a character, especially a league start scenario or something very squishy, I do care. So what I have to do now is I got to go through all these different smoke mines until I find the boss. And once I found the boss, well, the fight goes on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to log back on my actual character. Oh no, shoot, another smoke mine phase. Oh god. Gonna log on to the actual character, and we're going to see how we deal with it. So one thing that you'll see me do is, well, I guess I already have one on. What I'll do is I'll make sure for this boss that I have a Quicksilver Flask available. So I already have one, so that's pretty good. Now I'm not going to worry too much about the Basalt Flask. I don't care if I die from this boss. It's really none of my concerns. I don't mind it at all. What I care about is killing it as fast as possible. Another thing that I'll make sure that I do in this is use my Smoke Mine, because my own Smoke Mine is going to give me a boost in speed, which a speed boost basically means that I can find the boss easier through these smoke mine phases, because I'll be moving faster. So what I'm going to do here is basically, yep, exactly that. So I want to walk out of the circle here, do as much damage as I can, and then the boss should be phase here. All right, and we're going to move on to the next phase. Going to go ahead and I'll showcase the wolf boss here or whatever. He's really easy to deal with. The most annoying one, I would say by far, is going to be the viper boss. Okay, so let's go and kill that. I think he was there, actually. He might have already died. Alright. Oh, no, there he is, actually. So he does shoot some little magma balls, which is, a little bit scary, but it's kind of slow, and quite frankly, he dies very quickly. Alright, here comes another smoke mine phase, so I'm going to make sure that I smoke mine, get all the move speed that I can. Yeah, there you go. So long as you don't die through the smoke mine phase, this boss is actually quite easy. So this character is not super tanky, but I do have about a shield of, about 1,000 shield or so that's coming through every few seconds from Arcane Cloak. I do have Mind Over Matter, which means, some of the damage I'm taking is from my Mana Before My Life, which is going to help me out a lot. And I have about a health pool of 3,000. So my actual EHP is probably somewhere around 6,000. I am res capped. So Smoke Mine, run through these. Okay, found the boss. get away from it, debuff it, and there we are. Yeah, so the character is not super tanky, but so long as you can take, you know, 1 or 2 hits from the smoke mine phase, you shouldn't have any problem. One thing that I would highly recommend is if you're on the bottom side of the tree, this node right here, Wind Dancer, is insanely good for this specific boss, because it makes it so that if you haven't taken damage recently, right, 20% less damage taken if you haven't taken a hit recently. So if you haven't taken damage recently, which you probably won't have whenever the smoke mine phase begins, if you do take a hit in the smoke mine phase, you're going to take 20% less damage from it, which means it might just be that one hit that, you know, this might allow you to survive an additional hit, if you will, which can make the boss significantly easier. If you're not dying in the smoke mine phase, this boss is really a joke. It is just the smoke mine phase, which makes it super annoying to deal with. But anyways, that's pretty much it for my guide on how to deal with Chimera. You know, speed and some sort of reduction of either physical damage or not getting hits, such as a Quartz Flask, is highly recommended for this boss, and then a lot of move speed for the smoke mine phase. Otherwise, that's going to be it. Before I go, as always, I want to say a massive thank you to my supporters: Joseph, Atticus, Don, Brandon, Fruitfly, Reese, Panda, Central Bard, Adder, welcome back, Neroth, Jacob, Thomas, Nate, the Great Master, Raymond, Alex, Emil, Tim, Grimoire, Lost with the Map, Flame Scorpion, Nathaniel, Richard, Johnny, Scott, Ronald, Willie D, Kevin, Munkus, Mercury, Bitizen, and Axel, as well as anybody else who has supported me in the past, or anybody else who wishes to remain anonymous. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next guide. Peace.